So you said, I want to make sure, just to clarify, initially the before and after care will be handled with the youth center, but eventually the school itself, Imagine Andrews, will be doing before and after care?
I think,
or did I misunderstand
guys, I think to be fair to this question, give us some time to work some of these details out. There's hundreds of things we've been working through. I think this is another component that's going to generate some extra conversation. So if you'll allow us to refine our program in regard to before and after, I think that'll be sort of something that we'll need to continue to generate information on.
Okay, and again, I have two more real quick, I'm sorry. Again, to clarify, you must live in PG County to be, regardless of the 65-35, doesn't matter. In order to enroll, you must live in PG.
Correct.
Okay, last question. When it comes to snow delays and weather and this, that, and the other, will it go off of what the base does when they have their delays, or is it going to be PG County? Because
we will
for the
follow
most
the
part,
Prince
we can get to
George's
the school.
County public school system.
So when they don't have school because the south on their backcountry roads can't get through, but we could easily get across the street, our kids are going to suffer?
Consider the fact that 35% of your student population is coming from off base. So 65% of the school will be there, 35% will, plus teachers need to drive in. And when you have snow delays, you have to consider there are a lot of stakeholders that come to a school every day. And teachers might be driving from Anne Arundel County, they might be driving from Baltimore, they might be driving from Virginia. And so when there's snow, you look out your window and there might be a nice little glaze of ice and you go, well, why are they canceling school today? But think of all the people that come from all around different areas. So I'd hate for your kids to show up and there be no teacher or
I understand. We're from Iowa, so there's times where they cancel school and I'm like, are you kidding me?
I
It didn't even snow.
I think it's crazy too sometimes. But unfortunately, there's so many areas we don't even know what that snow or ice looks like. I think for simplicity purposes, Prince George's County Public Schools is delayed or closed. We should follow that process or procedure. Yes.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, there are cases when the base is closed and we've got a snow line you can go to, you can get to it on the website, and if the base were closed, that'd be another case where we wouldn't be able to do the school, probably.
For the 35% civilians, how are they going to be able to get on base, and what's going to prevent them from coming in after hours and stuff? I mean, I do ID cards and stuff. I'm just curious on that.
Someone from security forces here that wants to talk on that? We do have a policy in place for that, but we can certainly address that tonight as well.
I'll take that one. To gain entrance, the requirements for those that currently aren't ID card holders will be the same as we have for contractors. You'll have a background check. You'll have to pass the background check. You'll be issued credentials through DBIDs. You'll be registered in there. We haven't worked out the process yet conceptually as to how you'll get the credentials. We're trying to make it easy on folks so that when you register and you come to the school, you kind of do this all at once and you'd get your credentials. There'll be a defined period of time. Those credentials are only good from X hour to X hour, and they're only good for certain days. In other words, there is really no reason for anybody off the base to be at the school on a Sunday if the school's not open. Those credentials are not going to allow you to enter the base on Sunday. As well as when you leave, working with the school, there'll be a checklist, more or less, as your student leaves, to take that credential from the parents so that they don't wander on the base whenever they want to. So there'll be tight controls. It'll be no different. But if you don't pass the background check, you're not coming on the base. So that's kind of the controls of living on Andrews and people we have that we service. That'll all come, like I said, we're going to try to do a kind of a mass processing and not onesie-twosies, so we can get that set up with the school when the registration occurs. We don't even know who's coming yet to have a process for the cards. Whether it's at the visitor center or not, and we do it in mass, we haven't quite figured that out yet.
Sir.
Is there anything in the application process, once you submit, that you're going to get a confirmation back stating that your application was accepted? Because I would hate to wait till after the draw and not receive anything to know that my child's student ID was off one number. Or is there any kind of confirmation?
Valerie, do you want to address that? because you see everything that comes and goes, Valerie, on the other end. So, sir, behind you is Mr. Pass, our enrollment counselor. She'll answer that question for you.
What our plan to do is to send, what we plan to do is to send out to each applicant a copy of the application form that's been submitted and request that you review and verify that the information is correct, and if there are any discrepancies or problems, to contact me. We haven't done that yet, but I would say within the next 2 weeks you should receive a copy of the application asking for you to verify what we have received.
For those of you who have filled one out, my understanding was that you would get a response saying, "We thank you for submitting your application. We've received and reviewed." Can you verify that that's happening? Because I haven't filled one out. That is happening. Okay.
It does, it says thank you for submitting your application, but they don't receive an actual copy of the application. It's just a standard message that says thank you.
Right.
So I can understand why some parents might be a little concerned that their application has been received.
So we're acknowledging we received it, but your question was, did you receive all the information that I sent? She's good, that's why we hired her. She's the best.
If there's a discrepancy, like if my child's student ID wasn't found in PG County, will I know that and get a chance to correct that and not miss a lottery?
As applications are received, I review each application to make sure that all the application information has been completed. If there's anything missing, such as a student number, or if there's a birth date that might disqualify from entrance into kindergarten, I review all of those different items, and then I send out personalized emails to each applicant to say, the student number is missing, the gender of your child is missing, there's a grade mismatch in terms of their current grade and next grade. And so if you haven't received anything from me, chances are your application is complete. But we're not going to disqualify or withdraw an application without notification to the parents.
The other thing I want to add in terms of student ID number, I just want to make it clear, you can fill out the online application without having gotten your Prince George's County student ID number. However, you can't enroll until you have that number. So you can go on tonight, you can fill it out, even if you haven't stopped by your child's home school to get that number, but just know that if you get in through the lottery and we call and you get your letter and we say on such and such a date you have to come in and register, you've got to have that number by then. So I don't want that to slow anybody down from getting online and completing the online application. But eventually you have to have it. Yes, ma'am. Whoever's next, guys.
I just have a question again about the civilians that are coming on base. I mean, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but the background check. How extensive is the background check? And is it both parents that have to do the background check, or just one parent, and what if one passes and one doesn't? How's that going to work?
Okay, so we'll read this from the text, okay? Disqualifiers for base access. You can find on the Imagine School website. Conviction of a felony crime at any time. Any narcotics, drug conviction in the past 3 years or twice in the past 5 years. Any weapons-related conviction in the past 3 years or twice in the past 10 years. Conviction of a theft or larceny charge in the past 12 months or twice in the past 5 years. Any conviction of an assault charge in the past 12 months or twice in the past 5 years. Any registered sex offender at any time.
And you will not be admitted if you don't pass it. Even if you're a husband and wife, one passes and one doesn't, the one that passes can drive the child on. But that's it. The other one can't join them.
To ask Miss Valerie a question, she said that she's going to go through each application. You said you were going to go through each application and review it and make sure that all the information is present, and then get that information back to whoever the individual is if all the information isn't present. That's going to be before March 18th? Yes. So
So I process the applications every couple of days as they're received. And as I review the application information, if I see that there's a discrepancy or there's something missing, then I send an email out to the parent to let them know something is missing. So that's something that takes place on an ongoing basis every few days. If you have a question about your application and you want to see me afterwards, you can do that if you want to verify anything. But if you haven't received an email from me and you submitted an application prior to February 11th, you're okay.
Folks, we have time for one more question, and then we are available after for any other follow-up questions. So we'll take this final question right here.
Hello, I'm quite, although I'm quite happy that the school is starting, there's been many times that schools has started up, and sounds like with this one, it's a lot of barriers. Is there, and with the base downsizing, what would be, anything that would probably stop the school from continuing or, prevent years down the line?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We'll be here forever, and we will do a fantastic job for your children.